Next is hot work. Hot work often arises from construction and or maintenance activities. Hot work is work that might generate sufficient heat, sparks, or flame to cause a fire. Hot work includes welding, flame, cutting, soldering, brazing, grinding, and other equipment incorporating a flame. Example, tar, boilers, and etc. Hot work can be very dangerous and stringent controls must be in place. Identify all hot work. So, for you to prevent fire, you have to identify all hot work. I'll only allow hot work if no satisfactory alternative. So, if there is no satisfactory alternative, that's the time that you need or you are going to allow hot work. Ensure relevant contractors are aware of hot work procedures and controls. So you have to ensure that constructors are aware of hot work procedures and controls. Use a hot work permit system. Including this hot work permit system, it includes fire resistant protective clothing, clear responsibility, logging and audit processes, routine checking and supervision, item to be worked or removed to safe area, remove or protect combustible or flammable materials. Of course, because these combustible and flammable materials are prone to fire. Prevent, suppress, and control sparks. Prevent, suppress, and control heat. Provision of and training on suitable firefighting equipment. Provision of a separate person to fire watch and use firefighting equipment, which is the fire watcher. Particular precautions for special risks. Example, confined space. Leave workplace clean and safe. Of course, you have to leave the workplace. It should be clean and safe to prevent these unnecessary hazards. Final check of area at least 60 minutes after completed job and certainly prior to premises being vacated. Before you vacate, you have to check or finally check the area 60 minutes after the job is being complete. You have to check the area 60 minutes after all the jobs or these contractors are done making the processes or the things that they are making inside a particular area. Next is electrical safety. An electrical equipment and installations designed, constructed, installed, maintained, protected, and used to prevent danger. Get a qualified electrical contractor to carry out installation and repairs to electrical equipment and fittings. So, for electrical safety, because all of us know that this electrical damages really can cause fire. And you have to get a qualified electrical contractor. Of course, you should go with those who are qualified, those person who have knowledge and expertise with it. Maintain proper pest control to avoid rodent damage to electrical wiring and equipment. Of course, because there are pests that gonna bite, ruin electrical wires. And for you to prevent that, you have to make or to control the pests for us to prevent fire. Check electrical equipment and remove defective equipment. So you have to check electrical equipment that are already defect. Ensure electrical cords are in good condition. Of course, the electrical wires, electrical cords are in good condition and there is no bites coming from those pests or insects or whatever. Plug appliances and lights into separate electrical outlets. So you have to separate appliances and lights outlet. Avoid using extension cords. If you require an outlet in an area where there is none, have one installed by a qualified electrician. So therefore, for us to, because mostly sa atua is nagagamit ano yung is called series, which is ginasaksak ng mga extension wires. So we have to prevent this to avoid, fire, or to prevent fire, the cause of fire. If you want to use electricity in the particular area you have to install, which is coming from qualified electricians. Use extension cord safety not under carpets or across walking areas. So if you are using extension wires, so it should not be put under carpets or crossing walking areas, because there is, if crossing walking areas, there's a possibility that it will kanang maputol siya. Next is arson. Deliberately started fires pose a very significant risk to all types of workplace. The possibility of arson should be considered as a component of your risk assessment, and it is one that you can do much to control. The majority of deliberately started fires occur in areas with a known history of vandalism or fire setting. Typically, local youths light fires outside the premises as an act of vandalism, using materials found nearby. Appropriate security measures, including the protection of stored materials and efficient and prompt removal of rubbish, can therefore do much to alleviate this particular problem. You should therefore seek advice from the local guardi or local government or the fire authority, who will involve the other agencies as appropriate. So you have to seek advice coming from local government and local fire stations. Occasionally, arson attacks in the workplace are committed by employees or ex-employees. So this happens because of, some attributes of non so good communication or relationship with the company or a certain establishment. Employers and other workers should be aware of this potential threat and be alert of early signs, such as series of unexplained small fires. Again, the government or the local fire authority can provide further useful guidance in how to prevent this one. Provide adequate security, exterior, interior lighting, intrusion, alarms, guard service, well-secured access openings, of course. This is very important. You have to do this to prevent this arson. Prevent access by unauthorized personnel. So, of course, those unauthorized personnel should not be accepted in a certain industry or buildings in a certain areas. Keep flammables properly stored and secured, of course, for those materials that is usually or that is prone to heat, should be kept or stored safely rather. And next is the other element is the oxygen. Oxygen gas is used in welding, flame cutting, and other similar processes. Also used for helping people with breathing difficulties. Of course, there are oxygens in hospitals. In hyperbaric chambers as a medical treatment, of course, in the hospitals. In decompression chambers for food preservation and packaging. Yeah, it is. Oxygen are used in food preservation and food packaging. In steelworks and chemical plants. So oxygen is used in this. The air we breathe contains about 21% oxygen. Pure oxygen at high pressure, such as from a cylinder, can react violently with common materials such as oil and grease. Other materials may catch fire spontaneously. Nearly all materials, including textiles, rubber, and even metals, will burn vigorously in oxygen. With even a small increase in the oxygen level in the air to 24%, it becomes easier to start a fire which will then burn hotter and more fiercely than in normal air. It may be almost impossible to put the fire out. A leaking valve or hose is a poorly ventilated room or confined space can quickly increase the oxygen concentration to a dangerous level. So this is a very, you know, alarming because oxygen is very dangerous level. If there is leakage of oxygen that will cause a fire, it's very dangerous. The main causes of fires and explosion when using oxygen are, so these are the main causes of fires what is caused by oxygen when which is caused when using oxygen. Number one, or the first one, is oxygen enrichment from leaking equipment. Of course, from leaking equipment like gas stoves, ovens, like that. Use of materials not compatible with oxygen. So it can cause fire if that particular materials is not compatible with oxygen. If you're using oxygen that is and the materials that you're using is not compatible with it, it will cause fire. Use of oxygen in equipment not designed for oxygen service. It is just the like of the second one. Next is incorrect or careless operation of oxygen equipment. So, careless operation of oxygen equipment can take this, can cause fire. And in how to be safe from oxygen. Ensure employees are aware of their responsibility to report dangers. Of course, this is very important. If there is dangers, employees should report this to the management. See safeguards in the code of practice for working in confined spaces. So there is what we call code of practice for confined spaces.